And welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Today starts off with the North America getting the very first win, but we'll see if the EU Legends can find some redemption for us later on today. They'll have to dig themselves out of a big hole after what the Q Kings did to us. I'm joined by Dracos and Foxdrop. Before we get into the 1v1 finals, we need to take a moment to take a look at our Cisco last second save, because when you're trying to steal the red buff from the enemy team, you know that every second counts. This replay is powered by the Cisco network, and Dracos, set this one up for me.
Yeah, so what we have here is Civ HD looking for redemption. And as many of you know, the process of making YouTube highlights is one of determination. Many attempts over hundreds of games till you finally land that. This was not one of those games. This was the outtake where if you had done it a second earlier, maybe you steal a red buff, maybe you disrupt Yasuo so completely that he can no longer play the game.
How tilting is that, Foxdrop? If you were a jungler and it were stolen.
You know, the worst thing is that the NA team had a ward there. They didn't see him try and steal it, but they saw him do the walk of shame afterwards. That was the worst thing about it. Like, just Civ, of course it's Civ HD though, right?
Yeah.
You knew he was going to do something like that.
And the rest of the game pretty much looked like that. Now, let's turn our attention to the Red Bull 1 versus 1 tournament for the finals. It is a best of 3 between Bwipo and Noway. Quickly explain to me how the game's played.
Yeah, so if you're a follower of 1v1, you know it's been updated over the year. This year, there's no longer a 100 minion win condition. You can get first tower, it can be first to 2 kills, or in the event that the map goes to sudden death, which will happen, I believe, 7 minutes into the game, a big red ring of fire will slowly collapse. At that point, the next person to get a kill, regardless of how many kills you've gotten before, regardless of how much damage has been dealt to the tower, will then instantly win the game. So mostly the same, but we've won kind of the scummy farm win condition is now gone.
Now let's zoom out and look at the players, of course. You can see Bwipo and Noway. They took down Selfmade and Elwind respectively in the semifinals and made their run through the bracket. Bwipo has played some great games on Shen. He's a bit more action heavy. He likes to get into the faces of his opponent. On the other side, Noway, the German sniper, a little bit more cool, calm, collected, playing those Skillshare champions. The Mages is a Nivea, has looked particularly good. Now, Foxdrop, clash of styles is what we said at the top of the show. Which style do you think will reign supreme?
Ooh, I always want to put the hand into the aggressive person, and for me, that's Bwipo in this matchup for sure. Like, he's the one he's fighting more. You know, he's picking those more aggressive picks. And as you say, Noway's more like a control mage player, and he's done very well on it. But I'm not quite sure you can tame the beast that is Bwipo. I think he's just going to be too much.
Bwipo's also the champion, right? He won last year, not just against EU players, but against everybody. He beat Uzi in the finals, and a lot of that was because he figured out the metagame. Yes, watching him play Hecarim wasn't a lot of fun.
Nope.
But it was very good. Yes, would you have preferred him to see Vayne versus Vayne, or Vayne versus Vayne up against Uzi? Yes, but the Hecarim was better and ended up winning the day for him, and that's the thing you have to keep your eyes on, is how much more ingenuity do we see from Bwipo, because I would love to see honest 1v1s, but I think, as you mentioned, given the clash of styles, given the way that both of these players like to approach it, it should be different picks. The Rengar taken away immediately. Noway knows exactly what he doesn't want to see.
I was listening to the YouTube VODs for the full games in the earlier rounds, Dracos, and you were pointing out that when the Ring of Fire comes in, that the bushes are still there. So if that Rengar is still in there, Knife Cat does knife cat things. Was that the call I think I heard on Friday's show as well?
That was Vetty, yeah, and I think Rengar is one of the ones that you just have to respect, because the champion, as we've seen in this map as well, seems to get his leap a couple hundred pixels outside of the bush.
Yes.
Whether that's intended or not, it's hard to say, but it definitely makes the champion look stronger overall. Pantheon makes sense, but it does seem like both players are very firmly set in their ways.
There's the Nivea.
Oh.
I saw it as soon as the ban didn't go through, I knew it. Noway's thinking about it. He hasn't quite locked it in, unlike the Olaf, which was BAM!
Now, you started level 3, if I recall correctly, in this game mode, right? So that is going to help Olaf out a little bit, most specifically because the access to level 6, you're really going to look for that Ragnarok if you're going to go for the all-in, but then you got to get through the egg as well.
Well, it's true, but I also think that in this case, starting level 1 might be stronger, because Olaf's level 1 is so solid with repeated axe spamming over and over again. His passive is very good, but when Noway gets to start at level 3, he gets to go, okay, if you don't hit your snowball, I throw a wall up, and Olaf's natural enemy, walls. His ult, yes, great, you're immune to CC, not immune to a wall. You cannot walk through that. He's got a flash,
but
he's got a
snowball counters a wall.
Yeah, but if
you
he
have
whiffs the snowball, then it's
Oh.
trouble, because you can trade flash for flash, and that's going to be a big deal. The good news is, and the thing that I love about having snowball, is that the cooldown is so short that if you get anything for snowball, if it's an ulti cooldown, well, less so in the case of Nivea, if you can get passive, if you can get flash, if you can get a barrier off the snowball, it's a huge, huge win for you.
Foxdrop, what do you make of this?
I think it's really hard for Noway to keep Olaf away from him. And he's going to struggle. He's got the wall, yes, but that's all he has, and he has to do it perfectly. And I think it's just much easier for Bwipo to execute this, so Noway's going to have to pull something out the bag to win this one.
Yeah, I think we may end up in a situation, though, because when you look at Noway's previous VODs, you'll be like, oh, he's just a PvE gamer. But that's mostly because people couldn't fight him and couldn't contest him on the wave. So if he does get ahead of Bwipo, we could see a situation where Bwipo has to play as conservatively as possible to sacrifice tower health without actually losing the tower so he can get to the Ring of Fire stage where maybe he stands a better chance at the individual 1v1.
Oh, Ring of Fire. I wonder if we'll get that far if Noway can control it. Because one of the things I find interesting about this clash of styles is that theoretically both styles could win, right? If they execute their style well. And then it comes down to how well do you time your skill shots until Ragnarok is available, or if it's on cooldown. Can you manage to get that stun from Anivia's Q or not? And Bwipo already bush control. He's pushed all the way forward. Got himself that Null Magic Mantle and the Double Doran's Blades, as we talked about, level 3 already on the Murder Bridge.
Yeah, and Bwipo's absolutely no slouch. He's a player that is going to be really smart about how he controls the wave, about how he tries to set this up. Because one thing that Noway got away with a lot in the previous rounds was spamming abilities to try to push out the wave to get a good time to get that lost chapter. But if you can disrupt that, and Anivia at any point is in a position where she either has to sacrifice creeps or tower plates, she's honestly going to be in a lot of trouble.
I think the most important thing to look at as well, right at the get-go, is the skin powers. Because there's a lot of purple I'm seeing coming through from both of them, but I think, honestly, thematically speaking, Anivia does have an advantage here on the Howling Abyss. So that's something Bwipo is going to want to bear in mind, though I do like the option that he's gone for here. Is that like a Dragon Slayer?
Yeah, so it is a
maybe?
Dragon Slayer, but, you know, Anivia,
I think Glacial would have been better in hindsight, but
yeah,
you know what? I'm not going to argue with Bwipo. He is the reigning champion. He knows what he's doing.
And you would assume that, like, by Monster Hunter rules, there would be some fire damage imbued in this skin.
Sure.
And so that would naturally be a counter.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
Physics 101.
Roast chicken, if you can get that bird down. We had some nice duck actually today at the studio. I wouldn't mind some of that.
Some classic German food, Ganze Essen. Ente actually.
Ente. Yeah, no keys this time.
By the way, take a look at this. So immediate shove from Bwipo, undertow after undertow. Mercury Trade's picked up as the first back, pushing Noway all the way under the tower. Was it Wonder's interview, I think on Friday, we was talking about how wave management is crucial. I think Ender spoke to him in the explanation of the, the 1v1 rule set. But you already see that Bwipo is back into lane. And remember, no 100 CS victory, thank goodness. 2 kills on the tower, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I like the early Merc Treads pickup. Bwipo knows what he's about. It's just a DPS check here, and if you can get into melee range, he's just going to RuneScape duel down Noway. But Noway now in a bit of a rough spot in that it's hard for him to approach the wave, despite so many creeps there being in his favor, just because he knows he will get stat checked, inevitably.
Yeah, Noway needs to get this under the tower ASAP, but Bwipo's going to hit level 6 soon.
There you go. Wall's already down. He knows wall's off cooldown. That's going to be egg immediately. No, doesn't get egg. That sucks.
That's big.
Flash lost. Ragnarok is just unlocked now as he's digging 6th. And obviously the snowball will come back in just a few moments.
Yeah, it's not. The big thing is you want the egg cooldown there.
Yep.
Because you're not going to. It's very likely that you die if you try to full commit and dive him under the tower at that point. But getting the egg cooldown does make it.
Yeah, but surely no flash on Noway is going to be a bigger concern here.
And again, you're trading up. Trading
flash
snowball
also
for ignite.
Yeah, overall, his snowballs come up. That ignite's going to take a little while still. But I mean, if you're Noway, if you're playing Anivia, it's hard enough to keep Olaf away from you. All you had was your wall and your flash, and now one of those is gone. So you've got to really make sure you do a good job with your wall. And
Ragnarok walks it down, Axe is coming in, undertow to follow, and it's just going to back off. And that's the thing. The second you burn wall at all in a way that isn't saving your life or keeping Olaf off of you, it's instant snowball, get to walk away. And normally I'd be like, oh, just dodge the snowball. But this is a no-boots Anivia. She is so slow. She cannot dodge axes. She cannot dodge a snowball. This is very difficult.
Yeah, and plus, you don't even need to land the snowball on Anivia specifically. If you can land it on like a minion that's close to her, that works as well, because you're going to be far enough that you can just throw an axe and then just run her down. So it's really tricky for Noway on Anivia. He now has to play with like 0 error, because as soon as he makes any kind of error, Bwipo's going to be all on top of him, and that's not going to be good for Anivia. She's definitely going to go down if she gets caught out here.
And there's a lot of these incremental advantages that are going to add up. Without a timer, it's hard for me to be certain. Bwipo healing through most of this damage. Noway running out of mana, but could try to find the kill. Bwipo going to back off. That's big, actually. Noway should have enough mana here to push this next wave with ult and should get a decent back here.
If memory serves, between levels sort of 10 and 12-ish is when that Ring of Fire starts to come in, so we're getting close to that time frame. Egg is not available for Noway. Backs have been interrupted multiple times on Bwipo's side, but he's farmed up a good chunk of minions, and Noway's going to once again try to interrupt. Not this time around.
Doesn't know. And as you mentioned, the egg, it won't be available in Ring of Fire, which is big. Obviously, that would be very, very potent in the 1v1.
Yeah, both these champions, just seen as well, have really good wave clear. So getting these recalls is actually like really crucial because you don't have a big window to try and get it before the other players pushed all those minions under your tower. So, you know, Noway, especially now that he's reached level 6, we're far from that point. But Olaf spamming Q, and Nivea just uses one rotation of spells. And it looks like as well, Bwipo is just kind of playing the base damage game, where he goes for defensive items and then just relies on his base damage to be enough to fight the Nivea, which I think is a pretty smart option because the only way you can really lose this 1v1, at least in like fighting, is if a Nivea bursts you down. Like,
yeah,
and you're not going to be able to do that if you've gone for these items like this Headstrong.
Yeah, there's the world where you can keep them at arm's length and kind of slowly burn them down, but I think it is very difficult. And part of the reason why we see Ruby Crystals as opposed to something like a Vamp Scepter is because while sustain is going to feel good, there's a certain amount of that built in naturally to Olaf's kit, and more raw health is significantly better in the 1v1 in this case, although
Snowball found his target. I'm literally just waiting for this Ring of Fire to start swinging. Dracos, what happens if nobody's died yet in the Ring of Fire? First to die?
So it's first to die, so it's sudden death, so whoever dies at that point is gone. And Bwipo is right now in trouble. Remember, he can't afford to die, but there's going to be no egg here, no way flashing out. Ooh. Patience with these summoners is really solid.
Ooh, I think that might favor Bwipo still though, because you know that's well, obviously that favors Bwipo. There's no flash on Noway and no ignite. Bwipo still has his flash. I think when the Ring of Fire comes through, like we're going to be seeing it. Oh, he's flashed forward. That's a great stun mode.
He can get this kill and that's great, but it's not going to win him the game. At the end of the day, it is still going to be the sudden death. That massive influx of gold though is big. He needs to back immediately. He gets the empowered recall, so it's only 4 seconds. Gets to buy an item too. That's pretty much the best case scenario because now he gets to walk in. Well, he could have gotten Spirit Visage. Instead, it looks like Gore Drinker.
That's a Moth.
Oh, it's a Moth.
Yeah, so this is the point, right? Sudden Death's coming in. He's got to outrun that Ring of Fire, by the way, because that's going to be coming on pretty quickly.
There it is.
He's coming in.
But this is exactly what you expected to happen, Foxtrot. You're talking about that style, like Noway's trying to keep Bwipo at arm's length. He's down 17 CS. He's already conceded a life. And you see the last second swap there, by the way.
He did go Visage,
He did indeed go Visage. So wants to just survive a little bit longer. Look at this Ring of Fire shrieking in. Game 1 of the finals. And Noway's already down in death. And obviously the fight's coming in with sudden death, Dracos.
Yeah, really big deal here. Obviously, the trade for Bwipo is he got 600 gold for that flash.
2 level up as well.
Won't have the flash in the fight. We'll have an XP advantage, although catch-up XP, again, massive in this mode, so Noway's already ticked over to level 11.
And Nivea wants space when she's fighting. Ring of Fire takes that space away. So this is going to be really, really tough for Noway to be able to take this. I think there's a
graphical glitch as well, at least on my screen. I can't see the Ring of Fire on the screen. There we go. Slowly making its way in. Yeah, there we go. Slowly catching up. But Noway's going to get down.
There's just,
yeah, nothing you can do about this at all.
He's just got a Spirit Visage. Oh, gives himself a little bit of space. I don't think so. There's no way. This is it. Bwipo takes it down.
No way he can pick that one up. I mean, good pick here. Bwipo, I think, maybe anticipating the Anivia, good counter pick in the Olaf, and Foxtrot had played out sort of as you'd expect.
Yeah, he left the Anivia open, and I was questioning whether or not that was a good idea, but he instantly had that answer in the Olaf. And I think because Noway has had the longer 1v1s, you know, like he's won through taking towers, he's won through these Ring of Fires. Olaf is like the worst person to be put in a Thunderdome with if you're a control mage. Like you cannot keep him at arm's length. You know, you can't do what control mages want to do. And like you saw there, like you're just forced to go like toe to toe with him, and Olaf is gonna win that every single time.
Does Noway change his style here?
Can he change his style?
Ooh.
Yeah, because I think he's kind of forced into it, right? Because in the event, Anivia is, of the control mages that he plays, one of the most solid options into Olaf in terms of it has a wall. Whereas like if you're trying to Vel'Koz, go for the snare, or in the case of his Xerath, go for the stun, Olaf just instantly Ragnaroks his way out of it. Whereas the wall, while less immediate hard CC, does give you a little bit of room to work with. So it's going to have to be a very big adjustment. And I would say banning Olaf feels like a solid bet to me overall.
But there's a lot of champions that really
The thing is like, how many
So
champions
tough.
can just stat check an Anivia? There's a lot. Like, there's a reason that the Set and the Pantheon were banned, because exactly the same thing would have happened, maybe with a bit more lethality instead of a Spirit Visage, but just leap over the wall, hit him, knock him out, stack some MR. Her base damages are high, but not enough when you've got all that MR.
I think, plus he plays quite tanky champions, Bwipo does, right? And so he will itemize into magic resist, and he tends to win those, like tanks tend to win those base damage checks against mages in these 1v1s, so whatever he bans, like whatever Noway decides to get rid of, he's going to go up against something he doesn't want to play against, so...
I just think that generally in this format that I think 80 champions are champions that can rely reasonably on an auto attack damage is really big, because at the end of the day, if you can make it to the Ring of Fire in a 1v1, maybe you get one round of cooldowns. If it goes really long, you get 2. But once Olaf is out of cooldowns, he still just hits you with an axe. He just keeps hitting you, and that's so much damage. Whereas what Anivia auto attacks like 60 damage.
But then also when you think about the entire kit, Olaf's passive, etc., it benefits you in every single regard when you get into that Ring of Fire. So Noway, back against the wall. If he loses this one, he's done. Bwipo will be the back-to-back 1v1 champ in a gigantic grin as soon as that Olaf is banned away. Pantheon was the last one that we saw in the last round, as well as that set Cassio following the Heimer from Bwipo, but now he's got a life to play with. Even if whatever Noway throws against the wall sticks, we go down to the wire, the last game. So Foxy, what are you anticipating here? Do you think we see another control mage from Noway?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think so. They both pick at the same time, right? And this is why I think the last draft we saw Noway laughing because Bwipo's insta-locked his champion. I don't know whether this is like a blind thing or not, but
this is rough.
Yeah, it's like this is the thing is like this now is I think this is better for Noway than the Olaf was. So I think this is an easy one to win because Pantheon is squishier. And so you can actually, especially with this Ignite, have more kill threat. Because there were a few times in that last game where Olaf got really low, really close to dying, but just didn't because it was that little bit too tanky.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of this is going to feel like, to a certain degree, a survivability test for Noway and a DPS check for Bwipo. And that I think Bwipo gets to jump in. He's going to get his full combo up just about every time. How much damage is that? And does the E, which takes him out after he leaps in, is that duration long enough to get him out to safety before Anivia can throw a wall behind him, throw the ult down, stun him up, lock him up? So a lot of this one will be a lot more technical in terms of execution. I think the last game was a lot more about like wave control, not overstepping, not letting the Olaf get too close, and Olaf not overcommitting. So there was a kind of like, it was a game about caution. It was about committing at the exact right moment. Whereas I think this one is going to be a lot more about like actual mechanical execution in the trades.
And on the same token, you cannot disregard all of those stylistic choices, right? Because like Bwipo had to time when he went in. You talked about like the snowball, you can tag Anivia, you can tag the minion, but you've got a little bit more safety, as you mentioned. With Pantheon, once you jump in, if you don't have the numbers to get the egg or something, it gets a little bit scarier.
Yeah, this is great seeing from Noway go for the Seekers, because this is exactly how these trade patterns are going to go down. Bwipo's going to jump in, and then he's going to run out of cooldowns, and he's going to walk away. That's the time when Noway gets to bot Bwipo back. He gets to throw some spells back into his face, and then he gets to try and make an even trade. So all Noway has to do is survive that kind of first initial burst, or make that first initial burst not too painful for him, so that Bwipo doesn't think, you know what, I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to kill you. You know, and I think the Seekers helps him do that.
All right, stun trade for stun.
Just like this. There you go. That's all right. Noway will take that one.
Thing is that Noway's going to need a lot of time. Once the Seekers is fully stacked, I don't think he needs to go for the full Zanyas, but just stacking the Seekers is going to be pretty time-consuming. People were really excited about the changes to this item because they're like, think about how much armor you can get, but you have to kill a lot of creeps before it actually has all of the stats.
How many creeps did Noway get the first round? It was like 60 or 70?
Yeah.
Was just chasing with the 8.
He's got time.
Look at that damage. That's already egged.
I'm going to be honest. Like, I hate this champion so much right now. I just think Pantheon, I understand there is counterplay, but Plank, whenever I play against him, it really doesn't feel like it. He leaps in, he does so much damage, and that's in support. I have to ban this game or ban the champion every game because I feel like he just one-taps me without his 80 carry. When he builds damage, when he's not in support, when he just gets to go full lethality early on or early Hex Drinker here, this one feels a little lost in draft to me.
Yeah, Noway has to land that early stun so that Bwipo can't just like combo him down fully, and Noway can get a little bit of space there. On the plus side, as a positive, because I'm thinking this is looking a little bit rough here for Noway already. But if we are going to draw a positive out of it, Noway has an ultimate, and Pantheon doesn't really in this game mode. So at level 6, things will get easier for Noway here. He'll have an easier time of putting some.
He might not survive to level 6. Did you see the damage that Comet Spear did to Noway? Just chucking that one out. I mean, it's just a longsword that was picked up, despite the minion wave. Bwipo's just looking for this, but as soon as that Q is down from Noway, Bwipo steps forward. Like he's just squaring up to him, saying, "I dare you to fight me."
Yeah, and this is this issue right here. As you see trades like this, he's got the snowball as well procced on, and he can just leap right back in. That's a barrier. No passive to block, and there's creeps here, but they're not enough.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful from Bwipo.
He's not taking anything, is he, Bwipo, right here? He just decides he wants to win, and he's going to do it.
Massive creep wave too.
Yeah.
And he said his ult doesn't do anything, but he can, with the wave pushing into him, back by items, come back, and then Anivia has to walk at him.
Anivia has to take the peasant's way back.
With the whole tower to chase that Anivia down. So if he walks back into lane, no boots here. This man is going full for damage. He's not worried about drawing this one out at all. If he lands a snowball now with the wave pushing towards him, Noway is dead.
Hex Drinker, 2 long swords, 2 Doran's blades, and Bwipo was already chunking, what, 15% of his HP per Comet Spear?
Yeah, and there's no, and the Hex Drinker passive up too. I mean, it's just...
Jump behind him, come on, do it for style points. Grand Starfall right behind him, and then jump onto Noway. But I guess that's a pretty, like, relatively easy
Bwipo's just such a 5-head 1v1 player. Like, every move is calculated. Like, he's just not the kind of guy that'll go, oh, for the memes until he's absolutely knows that he's won it.
Yeah, now Noway has to be extra careful because this was already a difficult matchup, but there were ways for him to win.
Snowball.
Exactly.
Stun. Good trade. Blocks it. Wall's good from Noway, but look at his health bar.
It's... Oh, man. I thought this would be easier, I'll be honest. I thought this would be easier than the Olaf matchup, but my goodness. It's just not fair.
He's just like... You can't bully him off the wave. Your poke damage is not enough. He's hit both halves of the Q on every single trade that they've had, and it's just dealt like almost 0 damage. And the thing is too, is that Pantheon isn't even like old Pantheon. You just pushed Q on people over and over again, but at least you ran out of mana. New Pantheon 1 combos you, and that's like 20% of his mana to do 1 combo.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough here for Noway, not gonna lie. And he's gone back. Are we gonna see the Grand Starfall? You know, that I want to see it. You know, I
really want the stylish finish. The last kill in the final. Noway's got his back against the wall. I mean, there's nothing.
Look where he's standing. Noway knows.
And the thing is Noway's the German aimbot, but Pantheon just point and clicks. So like, what's stronger in the end?
Yeah, but then again, we also heard Trickster G complaining about 100 ping playing Egypt. So I feel like these things, there's a little bit of leeway in them.
Okay, so what's this? Level 9, level 7, no flash for Bwipo. He's got the snowball still, and the wave is pushing towards Noway. So is there enough AD for Bwipo to one combo?
He can one-shot him.
For sure.
He can for sure.
Now he definitely can.
That's a charged Comet Spear. And the big thing is if you can deny Pantheon access to the wave, you can stop him from stacking his passive, which is massive. Those empowered spears are going to be a big problem. But right now, Noway cannot do that.
No, he's got his egg back, but honestly, at this point, egg really means nothing for Anivia.
Flash is almost up here for Bwipo, by the way.
Yeah.
It's going to be big. He can just keep pitching with snowballs until sudden death. Ooh. And then he should guaranteedly, at this point at least, win in sudden death.
Yeah.
Flash in, looks for the big damage. Of course, barrier not going to be used. The good stun fall from Noway buys himself a bit of space, but you can see trade still not favorable. And again, that's barrier. Traded for flash, so overall positive for Noway. Timing will be important here, though. Does he get barrier back by the time he needs it for sudden death?
See, that's the kind of trade that Noway wanted to do about 5 minutes ago. Yeah. You know, when they were level 4, level 5, or level 6.
Oh my god, now he's got merc treads.
He's just... It's a little too late at this point. And I'm still waiting for the Grand Starfall. I mean, Noway doesn't have to stick around for very long to clear this minion wave out, so... I'm not sure... Oh, he's thinking about it.
I like it from Bwipo.
He tried it.
He just wants to cancel the recall.
I held my breath.
30 seconds. There's really no reason to get cheeky at this point. If you're Bwipo, I think you wait for sudden death. You know it's an inevitability. It doesn't look like barrier will be up in time. So take your time, get as much gold as you can back in a timely fashion. At this point, I don't really know what you buy. Red pot, maybe. You can sell your refillable for it.
I mean, Bwipo is just styling, you know. It's like he's played on the front foot. He's played in the face of his opponents this entire bracket.
Again, just class countered here. Just like, what does the bird do? And there's just nothing to be done.
Yeah, Noway needs more space, and he's not being given space.
In 2 years,
he's like a really
when I hope they rework Anivia so that she's on the same level as Pantheon. Obviously, no predictions here. But then maybe they can balance. But Pantheon was reworked this year. You can't battle a champion that was reworked this recently. They're just too strong.
That's fair, honestly. But the Anivia, you know, she did get changed. She did get the buffs. But here comes the Ring of Fire. It's slowly working its way in.
Bwipo debating,
Good
waiting,
trade.
buying some time, actually keeping the ticking going down. But oh, it's a lot of damage, and the E is still up. It's important to know. There it is.
No.
That's going to be it. Ignite ticking away. Bwipo, there you go. Will be your 1v1 champion. Noway for Noway to close it out.
Ring of Fire in both games, but a 2-0 from Bwipo, and frankly, just outclassing Noway. Stylistically, it played out as pretty fucked up.
Alric, I thought so. The aggression from Bwipo was just too much. Noway couldn't take it.
But also very clever. Like, he does time his engages correctly. He didn't bite off more than he could chew. He didn't go for the style points that we were looking for, but he didn't need to. It's about the crown. It's about the champion. Back-to-back 1v1 titles for Bwipo.
Man's very good at 1v1s. He understands the meta. He is not afraid to play what is good. And for Noway, he stuck to his style, which I respect immensely. But at the end of the day, Bwipo got to spend all the OP champions Bwipo's playing. So Noway's spending 3 bans on OP champions in general, and Bwipo's spending 3 bans specifically on Noway. And I just feel like that's always going to be a positive
Do you think Bwipo boot camps for these?
Bwipo absolutely tryhards. Him and Hillsang both played Shen, and I guarantee they played each other a million times. When we were in Vegas last year with the EU players, they only talked about 1v1. Every other mode, they were completely unconcerned about.
But there's so much ego tied to it, right? It's like,
absolutely.
And I love the fact that also before every single show day, when the players are sitting on stage and they're getting ready for the games, they literally 1v1 both their teammates as well as the opponents. You know, you'll be sitting in the caster desk looking at the banter and the drama that's being chucked out just from these 1v1s. So congratulations to Bwipo. After the break, we'll actually hear directly from him. Then we'll turn our attention to the European and North American legends facing off. Before we go, MasterCard wants to recognize one of our special fans. This is Cristeo, born in the Philippines but raised in Guam, sporting a really sick Fnatic jacket. His absolute favorite moment was the World's 2019 group stage match between Fnatic and RNG, where Reckless broke into tears off of breaking through the RNG wall that attempted to breach for so long. I nearly did as well. I was casting that game. We'll see you after the break. You NA Legends.
It's a really sick jacket, though. Shout out to you, buddy. That's fantastic.